I still got people out there probably still hate me, still cuss me. So be it. You know, I like fans. Look at NASCAR. You got lovers, you got haters. Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Marshall in the middle.
Greg Allen, everybody. What's going on, Jumpmaster?
Hey, what are you doing, man?
Oh, I'm having a great day. I'm having a great day. It's a nice Monday morning. I went to the gym this morning and went and got a little lifting in, and now I'm back and I'm talking to one of the legends, man, one of my heroes. Thanks for taking a moment to talk to me a little bit. I really appreciate it. How are you doing?
Good, and yourself?
Oh yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Where are you at right now? It's beautiful. I see some of the air defense artwork and stuff on the wall. Beautiful.
I don't know how to flip the camera around. I got two more over here.
Oh, cool.
Hang on a second.
Oh, yay, look at that. I love it. I love it. Master Blaster. You were one of the original guys that I looked up to as a jump master. I think you were the primary or something on one of my very first jumps when I got there back in '88. Tell me about you joining the Army. Where are you from?
Fayetteville, North Carolina.
Are you from Fayetteville? I did not realize that.
Yep. I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Matter of fact, went to Womack. They were too busy. They sent me down to Hay Street. I was born on Hay Street back then. That's where the hospital was on Hay Street, right behind where Rick's Lounge was. Matter of fact.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Highsmith Rainey.
Yep. Yeah, right down the street from there. Right down the street from there. So what was growing up like? What year were you born?
61.
Tell me about your memories of growing up in Fayetteville.
GIs everywhere. SF. Watching jumpers all the time. I mean, that was just the way it was back when I was growing up. I mean, you had to do it. You had to be part of it. Let's put it that way. Most memorable part was watching my old man come home. He'd have to take a set of civilian clothes with him. He had to change clothes before he could drive down the tank trail to come home. If you got called off post wearing uniform, it was a general grade letter of reprimand from the Corps commander.
So we had restrictions on wearing uniforms off post, off duty hours and at the PX or at the mall and stuff. But that sounds kind of extreme though, right?
There was a lot of problems back then after the end of Vietnam. I mean, a lot of ragtag uniforms, a lot of mixed match, a lot of people that just didn't care. They were just burnt. I mean, you can't blame some of them. Some of them you can, some of them you can't. Some of them were just super shell shocked. But yeah, that was like a melting pot for trouble back in the 70s.
So what, did you find yourself in any trouble?
Always. It's like you hear Patton say, move toward the sound of gunfire. Move toward trouble. I've always been that way, always will. It's just the way I am. People that know me. I mean, I'm that way.
So what do you consider something that you move, are you looking for controversy? Is that something you feel you're called to find, or are you a controversy creator?
No. It's just, I always seem to end up in it. I mean, it's like when I first got to division, we were an old division. You slept with bunk adapters at night because you was an open base, middle of nowhere. We had 5th Special Forces Group was on one side of us. The Leg Commo Brigade basically was on the other side of us. We used to have fights all the time, almost every weekend. The MPs didn't like coming down there. They were afraid. You got to remember, that was still back in the Vietnam era where you still had people that the judge told them, go to the Army or go to jail. So you had a whole lot of people in there. It was kind of crazy. We had, had 2 buck sergeants in 3rd platoon. Third platoon was in the upstairs floor of our barracks and hadn't been there but about a week. And it started to rain. They were outside cleaning their Harleys. When it started to rain, they opened the door and drove the Harley upstairs. And I kept thinking, man, I hope these floors are strong. You know, been around for a while, but I hope they're strong. But that was just the crazy stuff that went on down there. Fred Jones brung some women down there one time, and a couple of the guys down the street found out that he had their girlfriends with him. They come down. Next thing you know, their car's upside down and people are jumping on top of it. Yeah, old division was fun. So you didn't have to look for it. It was there. I mean, you just had to wait on the power keg to explode. It was coming. As a matter of fact, you went to the field in the wintertime, our heaters were outside in a room that was never locked, and you'd come back and your heater wouldn't be working. Well, somebody come in and stole the fuses out of it. So we had to go on a scavenger hunt and get our fuse back. So yeah, all division was fun. But the best thing about it was, if you had to go to Green Ramp, you could walk. So yeah, it was only a good mile walk to Green Ramp, you know, loaded down with everything you had.
So how old were you when you joined the Army?
17.
Like, so it's like high school, I'm done, I'm joining the Army right away.
Pretty much, yeah.
Were you good in basic training and stuff? Was that tough for you?
Ish was what it was. Didn't really bother me. I went at the wrong time of the year. Fort Benning, Georgia is kind of hot in July, but you know, hey, it's what it is. You learn to get around it.
Airborne school?
Airborne school was later. I didn't go straight from basic to airborne school. I had to go to 2 basic trainings, if that makes sense. When I first came in the Army, I was in what was called the Army Security Agency, ASA. We were the spooks. We were the weird guys. So I went from that to Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and went to my second AIT, and then was assigned to 10th Special Forces Group there at Devens, which I loved. But I wanted Bragg. I wanted to get back to Bragg, and I was doing anything and everything I could do to get back to Bragg. And to get back to Bragg, I had to go a different way. I had to get out of 10th Special Forces Group and try my luck at getting in the other Special Forces groups. Well, once I got out, they decided to change. They decided to change SF and make it its own branch. Well, that screwed everything up. I do mean screwed everything up. So then I had to go a different route. So then I had to go, because I've already knew a bunch about the weapons, I had to switch over, and then I went to air defense. And then came to division, and then didn't pursue SF again for years. Don't know why. I was there. I was home. I didn't need to. That was the main point, was just get back home. Be back at the home of the Airborne prior to the Carolinas.
So tell me about this spook unit you were a part of. Tell me about that part. What kind of stuff were you doing? Were you sneaking around in the middle of the night, you know, listening to stuff or something? What was that about?
Yeah, it was a lot of early warning stuff. We were basically, the reason why they disbanded it, when SF went to a branch, they disbanded ASA. It was really kind of crazy because we would get everybody got the Boston Herald for free. We stayed in a Fort Devens was basically a college campus with GIs on it, basically what it was. You hated to march to school when it was snowing. God, you had to go down this hill and you slid down. I mean, there was no other way around it. Beautiful country though. It's a little bitty town called Ayer, Massachusetts, 35 miles west of Boston. So we went to Boston a lot back in the 70s. Had some great times there. But the unit itself, a lot of guys went crazy in that school. It was pretty tough. The Diddy Bop guys, the Morse code guys would go crazy. They forced this stuff into you so hard. A lot of guys just couldn't take it. I was on a little bit different stuff. I had to do what was called a click. Glick was a big early warning thing. It was tied into SATCOMs and everything else. That's why we were in SF. But we were basically like the Army's version of the CIA. And the CIA wanted us bad. But getting back to the newspaper would come every day, and we'd have a big center trifold thing that came out, and it would tell you if you were certain MOS and you'd been through such a certain week of training or whatever, you give us a call. We'll tell you how to get out of the Army and come to work for us for like $60,000 a year, and that was in the 70s, late 70s. So yeah, it was different. I never cared nothing about working for the CIA back then. Known fact, they were eating their own. So, nobody wanted to do that back then. At least I didn't. There was a couple guys that jumped over. I just wanted to go back to Bragg. I just wanted to go. I didn't care how, didn't care what. I'd do anything, everything. And basically what I did. So once I got to Bragg, I mean, it was okay. Old division was what it was. I mean, it was just like being back in high school again. Everything was game on. Everything was open. Everything except division run. We always had to go a long ways. I mean, division run was only less than a mile were our starting point. Not like a new division where you had to go a mile and sit around for an hour or two, and try to stay warm. And if you were a smoker, half the guys carried a pack of cigarettes and a lighter with them so they could sit around and smoke. That was. I even seen people carry coffee cups, all kinds of stuff with them. Division was different back then. That was a good time. I'd hate to see what it's like now.
So, what rank were you when you showed up to Bragg?
PFC. Spec 4. I made Spec 4 just right after I got there. Wasn't long. Had plenty of time.
What was your MOS?
Romeo.
Vulcaneer. So did you like the Vulcan as a weapon system? I know I did.
That was bad, man. As long as you keep feeding it, nobody could get close. I mean, who cared what you shot at? Everybody was, fair game. As a matter of fact, Falk was one of my platoon sergeants in the Gulf Corps, and I never forget that early morning, about 4 o'clock in the morning, when I heard that Vulcan go off, and I thought, okay, who was it? That was Falk's gunner, McDade. I'm pretty sure it was McDade that pulled the trigger. It's either him or Mottwaller.
It was McDade. McDade and I went to basic together. We got a long history, he and I love that guy. I love that guy. So tell me that story. Tell me about that.
Well, there were supposedly Toyota trucks with quad 50s on it, running around out there and throwing rounds, this, that, and the other thing. And nobody could get a clean sight on him. And McDade swore up and down he saw him and pulled trigger. We never found any pieces or anything, but they never came back. I don't think I'd come back.
Amen. I'm sure not coming back if that Vulcan's firing a 30-round burst at me.
Yeah. It was I was just hoping and praying when I was laying in that little death hole I had that it wasn't friendly fire. That's all I was worried about.
Amen. So, tell me about that time. Tell me about being over there in that war. And you said Falk was your platoon sergeant. You called a couple names.
Falk was one of my squad leaders. It was Falk, Rucker, and Lopez was my squad leaders. Pascal Hilton was the first sergeant. Jose Chapa was the commander. I'll never forget when they woke up and found out that they had parked the brigade headquarters inside of a minefield. That slowed us down a little bit. That was a slowdown from the 55-mile-an-hour road march we had the day before. That place was, we'd been there a long time. 2nd Brigade was the initial push in. So we had guys in there in August. By the time the rest of the division got there, I think it was close to October. And it was hot. No way around it. It was hot. Only other place I've ever been a sign that was as hot was NTC. NTC got to be 132. My God. But at least there we could kill the troops off and move on.
Right. Hey, all right, everybody, gather around, find us some shade.
Yeah, God gun works wonders every now and then. Let's move, because you get to where you're sitting so long, man. It's that heat, that stale heat. You want to drive in that 130-degree weather, not sit in it.
Yeah. So, did you at any point feel like you were in danger during your career, or, fear for your life in any way?
I was part of Fort Bragg, so I'd say, yeah. I lived in O Division, so I said, yeah. I jumped out of airplanes, so I'd say, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Do you remember a particular time that, was there a jump that was particularly dangerous? Like, I was entangled with Friend at one point. I tell the story where he and I were, fighting for our lives as we're floating down through the air together.
Sicily drop zone. 400 feet, Turkish pilot trying to get his certification. Matter of fact, about the time you counted to 4, you looked down, you said, oh man, this is gonna hurt. Bam. I broke my glasses. The lens on this right eye broke, popped out something, I don't know, but I remember when I come to on the ground and really understood what was going on. I was looking around. I kept thinking, man, I can't see. What's going on? Can't see. And come to find out, it was just a glass that broke out of my glasses.
Oh, wow.
One of the very first things in my career that affected me, when I was at jump school at Benning, nobody never told me that you had to tie your glasses on. First jump I had come out, glasses come off my face. Thought, okay, this is going to work. Nothing really happened. Just keep your feet and knees together. You're going to do it. But man, that was a shock. I was thinking, man, I got to do this every time. So I learned after that to tie my glasses on my head.
Oh, wow. It's amazing the lessons we learn the hard way, right?
I mean, to tell you, live and learn. If you make it through, you won't do it again. Matter of fact, I did have to do that one again, though, because we had 2 jumps that day and they wouldn't let me run back to the barracks to get my other glasses, so I had to jump again that way. But next day, I never had to worry about it.
Oh, wow. So, were you good, shooting your weapon and marching and doing all the things that, a soldier requires?
Always an expert, 40 out of 40.
Awesome.
Matter of fact, during ANOC, back when we went to ANOC, you had to qualify in ANOC, which I never thought was, it's a gentleman's school. Why do a weapons qualification in ANOC? But we got out there, me and a buddy of mine named Michael Delaney. We both in Bravo Battery 3/4 88. We were both in the same ANOC class. We shot 4 times on that range to determine who was the top shooter. We kept shooting 40 out of 40s. Until finally, I just told him, I said, let Mikey have it. I said, we'll be here all day. Man, that takes a long time. You've got to go through all those guys qualifying, which was a fun school. Never cracked a book open in the afternoon, but got assigned. Sergeant Phillips was my class lead or class instructor, and Phillips made me do remedial class every night to those guys. And I remember me and Delaney were telling them, come on, we got to get to the club. We're going to give you all this instruction. We'll be back in about 3 hours and come back and check you. I remember Phillips used to tell me, we would have a race. Jeff Jordan was the commandant. Jeff Jordan was the commandant of the school. So every time we'd see Jeff, we'd end up doing 100 push-ups. And we had tests, those 4-hour-long tests. Well, in the spirit of the airborne mafia, probably the best way to put it, he who could finish first won, and had the best score. Me and Delaney and this other kid, this bookworm, was the top 3 of the class the whole way through. But me and Delaney would be outside in the car driving around looking for the women for 3.5 hours, because we'd be done in 30 minutes or less. And I remember the first time we took the test, Sergeant Phillips told me, he says, I went to turn in my paperwork. He said, I think you need to go sit back down and go back over your answers. I said, I have 3 times. I said, here's the deal. If I don't score 100 on this, I'll stay the whole 4 hours. I said, but if I score 100, you need to let me go. I got things to do. He said, what do you mean you got things to do? You're in class. I said, yeah, but I got 3.5 hours if I can go mess around. And Phyllis looked at me and said, you airborne guys are crazy. I said, we got to lead by example somehow, some way. We're going to do it. And I never forget, I think I beat Delaney outside 1 time in the whole class, which really got to me because of the instructors would always hold me back and make me, look at my stuff. And I was like, come on, man, let me go. I got things to do. But yeah, I don't regret any second of it. The only thing I regret is messing up my back. I got no cartilage between my S1 and my S5. I took a lot of painkillers for that. I finally got off of that and won't take painkillers no more. That stuff was, I didn't notice it until one day when I didn't even know where I was at. I was in my office, didn't know where I was at. And I said, man, I got to get off of these painkillers. These things are killing me. So I just live with the pain now. It is what it is. Wake up in the morning, kick yourself in the ass, get up, move around. By about 7 o'clock, I'm okay. Lay on the couch for a little bit at night, take a nap. A little bit of pain, get up, but ain't no biggie. We'll get through it one way or the other. Look forward to the last jump of my career, the one going into heaven.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about your spirituality, if you don't mind. Tell me about going into heaven.
Southern Baptist. Born and raised in the South. What else could you be? Fire and brimstone, baby. If they ain't screaming and yelling at you, you ain't doing something right.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
I grew up with blue laws. Yeah, if you wanted to drink beer on Sunday, you better buy a whole crap load of it on Saturday. Just part of life. There's some religions out there that I don't really think are religions. I think they're excuses or escapes, ways out. I'm not saying Southern Baptist is the best out there, but boy, let me tell you something. Every time there was a good holiday or something coming up where they knew you had time to get off, they'd start preaching that fire and brimstone, scare you. So I love that. I remember when the Bakers were on TV with PTL all the time. Old Tammy Faye's old dribbly eyes, had a black mascara run all the way down because she'd crying for your soul so much. That's Southern Baptist was a trip. My goodness. My mom was a devoted Christian. I remember when she got sick, she at first blamed the alternative maker on why she had to do this because she'd done everything right. I remember telling her, I said, Mom, you taught me that it ain't your choice. It's his choice whenever it happens. So you ain't got no way to complain about it. And she, after a while, we'd sit there and talk for a little while. Next day, she told me, she said, something, you're right. I said, you're lucky. Most people, the doctor told you had up to a year. I said, most people don't get to plan for this. So the way I look at it, you really got exceptionally treated into this. I said, I'm sure I won't get to plan for it because I never thought I'd make it to 35. I remember my mama telling me all the time, she said, you don't need to talk like that. I said, Mama, the stuff I do, I just don't think I'll make it to 35. I did, but almost doubled it now. Working on it real close anyway.
So what was it when you were, less than 35 was going to kill you? What was it that was going to kill you?
God, I remember sitting in a funeral one time for one of my buddies that died in a motorcycle wreck. And the preacher looked at the 4 of us that was sitting up front and told us, you guys live on the razor's edge. He said, you can fall either way any second. I remember looking up at him and smiling and doing like you, gave him a thumbs up. I said, man, you're on it. And he just shook his head at me. And I thought, one of these days I got to slow down. But I don't know if I ever did. I may have slowed down now. I don't know. I ain't as wild anymore. I got a Harley now. I don't have a race record. So I don't go as fast.
So if you had to explain to your children and grandchildren about your patriotism, you know, what would you talk to them about?
Ain't but one way to be. That's the only way it is. I mean, salute the flag. Like it or not, doesn't matter who the president was. That's one thing. One thing a lot of people don't understand about me. I never voted the whole time I was in the Army. Why? Because every time when you re-enlisted, you had to raise your right hand and affirm that you would go along with the people that were voted to give you the orders that you had to give. The way I looked at it is, if I voted for the wrong guy, how could I do that to the other guy? So I just didn't do it. When I got out of the Army, I voted. You know, a lot of people told me, but it was your God-given right to vote. Yeah, it was, but it's also my God-given right not to vote. So I never did it till after that. So, I mean, salute the flag, move forward, move to the sound of gunfire, lead by example, death from above, whatever else you want to call it. But got to do it, man. Got to do it. It's the country you were given. It's the only country you really have. You can change countries, I guess, if you wanted to. It's just like some people want to change their mom and dad. I don't know how the hell you can do that, because biologically they are your mom and dad, like it or not. You didn't get to pick. A lot of things you don't get to pick in life. Who your mom and dad is part of it. Where you grew up, part of it. The events that are going on in the country when you were born, part of it. Nothing you can do about it. Who's going to be number one jumper out the door? Unless you just re-enlisted, get your ass to the back of the bus.
You see that I'm sharing with you?
Yeah. I saw everything's changing. I don't see nothing coming up yet. It's still dark. It's like a night jump, first one.
Like a night jump, first one.
So you said you and McDade went to basic. How come you didn't come to you? Did you both come to division the same time?
We did. Me, McDade, and Holland all went to basic and AIT and jump school together. Holland came to Alpha Battery, and McDade and I went to Bravo Battery.
So which platoon was you in?
I was in 2nd platoon of Bravo Battery. Staff Sergeant Arroyo was my first squad leader. And Sergeant Terry Rayner was my senior gunner. And then it changed from there. Calderon at one point was a squad leader of mine. Gillings was a squad leader of mine. I deployed to Prime Chance with Terrence Smith and CJ Stevens and those guys.
Smitty worked for me. I was initially, when I first got there, 2nd platoon. I was 2nd platoon all the way up until 84, I think. 84. Might have been 83. 82, maybe 82 or 83. I went to 1st platoon. Came back. I was 2nd platoon during the Gulf War.
Yeah, so I left right before the Gulf War. I left to Korea in January of 90.
Yeah, you got to Korea right after I left.
Yeah. So do you see the screen yet?
Nope, still black.
Still black, huh? That's interesting. Okay. I haven't tried to do that yet. So let's try it again. See if anything comes up.
So now I got 2 screens over here, me and you over here in a little bitty box, and the rest of us all black.
Yeah, so I'm sharing a picture with you in the center of your platoon. I'm trying to share one of your Facebook photos with you. So
is that the one where we were at Smith Lake?
Yeah, I think it is. Oxendine. And,
yeah, that was 1st platoon. That was when Nate E.B. Thomas was our platoon sergeant. Big Nate.
Yeah.
That was Smith Lake. That was late 80s. Early 80s, probably. Mid 80s, I guess.
Yeah, probably 85, 86, 87, I would think.
Yeah, somewhere I think closer to 85.
Is that photo?
Yeah, close. I don't think I got those pictures on this laptop. I don't use this laptop for much of nothing except for stuff like this here.
Yeah. I'm on your Facebook, but I'm looking at Oxendine with his, you know, he always had something in every pocket. You ever notice that?
Oxendine is basically a legend. Oxendine, when he got to division, which was in the early 80s, Oxendine came in, and I don't know if he did anything wrong or if he just came back in the Army, but he was in the reserves. He was in the North Carolina National Guard or reserves. I think it was reserves. So when Oxendine was in there, he was a staff sergeant. When Oxendine came back in the Army, they would not observe his rank. They made him come back in as a PFC. He was the only drill sergeant qualified PFC I'd ever seen in my life. We called him the drill private. He was in 3rd Hurt. This was an old division. Oxendine caught rashes of shit over this. Oxendine, Herb was a great guy. Matter of fact, me and Herb at one time shared a room in New Division NCO room. Oxendine was never there, of course. You know, he wasn't married at the time. It took him forever to marry his girlfriend. He had a girlfriend for 20 years before he'd marry her because he couldn't trust her with his money. You know how Oxendine was. That boy, well, he would rub a penny until it turned into a $5 bill. Herb, I love Herb. But Herb, I've heard, has had some problems here. He got some kind of cancer. Haven't heard updates on him in a while. Velton Locklear is here. Last time I ran into Velton Locklear, he was giving me updates on him. But Velton's not in social media of no kind at all. So it's hard to get a hold of him. He's the senior enlisted guy for the local ROTC, JROTC. Which there's a lot of guys that do that. Him, Ferreira, Ramirez down in East Texas, Colonel Barrow in Mobile, Alabama. A whole lot of guys that like doing that. I never wanted to do that. Once I got done with it, I was done with it. And I mean, when I got done with it, I walked into Mrs. Brown's office and asked Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Brown, I'm here to retire. She said, when would you like to retire? I said, when can I? She said, if you can get this paper signed today, I can get you out of here in 2 weeks. I said, I'll be back in about an hour. She said, that don't always work. I said, trust me. I didn't ask him to come in, this bad boy. I don't think I should ask him to get out. And that's what I told the colonel when I went over and saw him. I said, you can sign it or I'll go find somebody else that will. And I did. I got out. I got out quick. It probably wasn't the best thing in a way to go about it because I didn't have all my medical record stuff done. When I left Korea, they lost my medical records. So I lost about 10 years worth of stuff. But being a hard-charging kind of guy I was, I never went back. I just kept driving on. I wished I wouldn't have because I got a whole lot of problems I wished I'd have got taken care of. But, you know, hey, case around. I asked for it. I got it, Toyota.
What's your theme song? You got a theme song?
Thunderstruck.
There you go. Hey, a buddy of mine asked, I just did one with a drummer. I did a Heroes I Know with a drummer a couple of nights ago, and we asked her to play Thunderstruck as like an anthem kind of thing for guys like you and us. That's definitely a great song. Like, you know, the after party from your memorial service, what's that going to be like?
God. I don't know, because it's everybody's so far out. The pandemic sucks. I don't know. I think there'll be a couple people there to piss on my grave. There's going to be some people there to talk good about me. I was never the kind of guy, which you can probably remember that too. I was probably better known as the best asshole in the world. But I believed in a standard. You're going to do it, like it or not. I don't care if you like me. I wasn't there to be the most popularity contest. We had a job to do and we were going to do it. That's just the way I've always been. Still that way. So I don't know. Friends, true friends. Yeah, they'll mourn for me. Drink a beer for me. But there's, like I said, there'll be a lot of people that want to come by and they'll piss on my grave, which, hey, you know, it is what it is. Make them flowers grow. No, but there's a lot of people that probably never actually worked with me. They probably sit back and think I was probably one of the biggest assholes in the world. But once you got to understand that all I was trying to do was help save your life or whatever, you probably thought different of me, but I don't know. I still got people out there probably still hate me, still cuss me. So be it. You know, I like fans. Look at NASCAR. You got lovers, you got haters. Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
You're right about that. You're right about that. So when people, when there are those that go to bed at night and when they lay their head down, they say a prayer for you. Who are those folks in your life? Who's praying for you?
I don't know. There probably ain't many of that left. I think my brother and his wife probably, he sends me prayer scriptures every morning. So I would probably most likely say it's them, which is fine with me. Like I said, Southern Baptist. Didn't expect no difference. Mama's gone, daddy's gone. Yeah, that's probably it. But ain't no biggie. I got no remorse.
So one of the things that I see you is I see you in several photos where you've traveled to go visit with your airborne buddies and your soldier friends. I've seen you playing golf, seen you at breakfasts. It looks like you guys, you know, have a brotherly love that continues forward. I know I would love to see you and give you a big hug and a handshake.
I haven't traveled in a while, but I've got to go to Alabama, and maybe next month. I just found out about this like last week, but I go to Redstone Arsenal. You're down south a little bit. We probably have to figure out a way. And this is going to be a quick in and out. I ain't going to be there long. At least that's what I was told. I used to travel a lot. And whenever I travel, I try to make it a point that if somebody is there that I know, I will reach out the hand. If it's not embraced, so be it. If it is, so be it. I'll go out of my way. If I'm 100, 200 miles away, if I got a rental car, I'll try to come see you. Just to sit down and hash out some old stories. Matter of fact, did it 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago. Dude made colonel, full colonel. Richard Clark. Richard Clark was a PFC, airborne PFC in Korea when I was in Korea. And I dogged the boy out all the time because he had baby jump wings, ball-headed jump wings, and had never spent a day in division or nothing. Went to jump school and then went to Korea. I gave him a real hard time. But we kept together all that time. I was sitting in a commissary on Fort Bliss one day, pulled over to actually talk on the phone, and got out of the truck because it was hot, just so I could move around a little bit. And when I got off the phone, I noticed a car had pulled up close to me, Corvette, and I thought, man, I must have blocked this guy going down the road or something, you know. We're gonna tussle out here in the middle of nowhere. But ain't no biggie. And he got out and he said, Greg, he said, you remember me? And I looked around and I said, damn, what did you do? Wore state uniform, all of a sudden you became an officer or what? He said, yeah, something like that. He said, guys like you, he said, you know, I always thought you were one of the biggest assholes in the world. He said, but guys like you taught me one thing. If you had a passion, go for it. He said, I got out after Korea, went to nursing school, came back in. He said, I'm a nurse up at William Beaumont, and have loved life ever since. And I said, damn. I said, that's been like 30 years, man. He said, yeah. He said, I'll stay in the Army until they force me out, which ain't much longer. He's only got a couple of years left. He just PCS'd today, matter of fact. He's leaving today, going to Fort Knox, Kentucky. But me and a guy named Kirkendall was at his was there. I don't know if you knew Kirk Kirkendall, but he retired at E7. He was a Romeo. Matter of fact, Kirkendall's over by Austin. But no, I go out of my way to see people just to, you know, I mean, hey, that is an enlightenment in life, just to shake hands, no matter how much you liked them or didn't like them. I talked all kinds of shit about you before, but I won't talk no shit about you then. No, but I really do think that people, no matter what it is, even if you didn't like somebody, bury the damn hatchet, move on. Life's too short. Get over it. Enjoy life, respect others, and go for it. I remember when TW got his first chance to be a Jumpmaster. He got out of school. We were going to Fort Bliss for AQF. We had talked the Air Force into giving us multiple passes, as many as we wanted. They needed to get certified too. And I told him, I said, TW, I said, these guys they really need like 12 passes. He said, okay, let's do 13. I said, that's an unlucky number, but we can do 13 passes. If that's what you want. We'll spread it out. So we spread it out. And I told him, I said, I'm going to be just like a blackhead. I'm going to evaluate you the whole time. And I did. But when he got done, I told him, I said, you'll never, ever in your life have another problem worrying about being a Jumpmaster. I said, we went through everything, every duty, everything. I showed him how to do the static line retrieval. I showed him everything. I said, because once you get to be a safety, you're going to learn all this stuff. Nope, they really don't teach you this. I said, so, and TW, he was worn out. God, that man was exhausted by the time that 13th pass come around. But when he finally turned around and looked at me and I saluted him, he went out the door. Man, that was so fun. But I love doing stuff like that. Like I said, it's the hard stuff that's going to get you through life, not the easy stuff. That was just like when I went to NTC. I was supposed to go to JRTC. They couldn't get E7s in the JRTC. So Wilbur made a deal with them to send me down to damn JRTC. Well, all of a sudden, the E7 list came out about 2 weeks before I was supposed to be down there, and shit, all these guys popped on the 7 list. I think Joe Stout was one of them. O'Neill was one, I think. There was a whole bunch of guys that popped out on the 7 list. I was like, man, this is cool. I don't have to go to JRTC no more. Well, you're right. But Branch told me the problem is you've been approved for OC duty. We're sending you to NTC now. And I was like, oh my goodness. Really? Out of the shit and into the fire. Literally. God, was that place hot. Sucked in the middle of nowhere. God, I hated it. I made the best of it. I found more petrographs from Indians and stuff out there, knew where all the hot springs were. I could sit in a hot springs pool of water and evaluate my troops. I sit in borax mines, which is 70 degrees, and use my binoculars to zoom in on what was going on while it was 130 degrees outside.
We used to call it Blue 4 TV, where we would sit in our Humvee and watch, Blue 4 move around.
But it was definitely a learning experience. Let's put it that way.
Do me a favor and tell me about some of your mentors. Who did you look up to? Who gave you guidance and direction that maybe we wouldn't think of?
Pascal Hilton. Pascal Hilton came to us from 101st. He hadn't jumped in 15, 20 years. Came in with his bad feet, his gouty ass feet, his bad knees, his bad back, and his bad temper. And, grew up to be a sergeant major in division. I talk a lot of shit about Pascal. Pascal the Rascal is what we used to call him way back then. Nate E.B. Thomas. Thomas was my first platoon sergeant when I went to first platoon. Thomas was the one that taught me how to assess the situation and figure out what you wanted to do before you opened your mouth, stuck your damn foot into it. No matter good, bad, or indifferent. And Nate was also the one that always told me, whenever you make the decision, follow it all the way through and then explain why you shouldn't do it that way. Okay, that makes sense. Who else? Velasco. Delta One. Him and Reggie Hunniker. One guy got messed up. Pelahousi, I think is how you pronounce his name. He all of a sudden got allergic to penicillin. And as soon as they gave him a shot, he had to take his boots off, had to strap him down to the tailgate and bring him back that way. He got chaptered out, medically chaptered out. There was one other guy that went on that. Oh, Kaler. Wesley Kaler was in Bravo. Those are the 4 guys from the battalion that went on Delta One to support those guys. Probably shouldn't say that, but hey, it's been a couple of years. Probably nobody cares anymore.
So whoa, tell me more about that then. If we're going to breach that, explain to me what Delta One was.
That was the operation of going in and recovering the hostages that Iran had. And the only thing that stopped us was the Iranians knew that Ronald Reagan didn't play. It was a good thing about it. I always said he was the greatest president we probably ever had because he knew how to be a movie actor. He knew how to look in that camera and fool everybody into being whatever he wanted them to think they could be. And the day he got inaugurated is the day he actually took command. Phew, they were sending them back. Gaddafi never messed with us anymore either. He, flew in there and bombed Gaddafi's little favorite tent. And Gaddafi said, okay, we wait till this guy leaves office. We'll start this shit back up. But no, it was the thing I loved about Ronald Reagan the most was the 13.5% pay raise he gave us. Best pay raise the Army's ever had. I don't care. Really, I don't care what else he did, right, wrong, or indifferent. That was the best thing in the world he could ever do for us. But no, the morning we got alerted that when Delta One got messed up, we got alerted. Every C-130 on post cranked up all at the same time, about 4 o'clock in the morning. You knew you were getting alerted before the CQ ever ran through. We were already dressed, had our stuff ready. We were ready to go. And the whole division sit back and just waited until we finally got the word that, no, we're not going. That was probably the scariest. That was probably the scariest feeling I ever had in my life because you didn't know what was going on. You had no information, none. And it wasn't that they were just hiding it from you. No, we all thought we were going, but it was never coming down. It was never trickling. Nothing was going on because the hostages were getting returned. G.S. Malloy was a CG at the time. And I loved that guy. He was also the one, and we was a CG when we got our berets back. That was a great day. I mean, 90% of the people left the ball field head gearless because everybody threw their leg caps off, and we all marched back that way. Kind of wish we would have picked it back up. You had to run to the store and get you another one real quick. Back then, you didn't have a whole bunch of stuff, PFCs and stuff, privates, Spec Force. We didn't have a whole bunch of stuff back then. But hey, such is life.
Tell me about that day. You're on a pike field, a parade field, and some general says, okay, berets are now reauthorized. Everybody go or something?
We all that morning, as soon as we got back from PT, we all got alerted that there was going to be a division formation, not at Pike Field, up at the football field up there on main post or middle of the division. I can't think of it. The one where the guys got
Towel Stadium.
Towel Stadium. The ones them guys got shot at that time. So we all fit in the Towel Stadium, and I mean it was tight. It was love your buddy. It was real tight to get the whole division up in there. But G.S. Malloy, which was the CG at the time, he wanted to be in that elevated state where he could see everybody. Pikes Field, everybody spread out. You don't get that amphitheater type heroic thing, when everybody cheers. And none of us knew what was going on. We had heard, everybody the fighting was trying to go on to get us our beret back and everything else. We used to wear that leg cap with a flash and the wings on the top with your rank underneath it. Which I do remember as soon as we put the berets back on, everybody wanted a leg cap again, so keep the sun out of you guys. But you had to go with a cool look. So hey, but yeah, that was. He got down there and talked to us for 15 or 20 minutes or so, and it took an hour to get everybody in there. He talks 15, 20 minutes, took a good hour or so to get out of there, and then marched back. So it's half a day just to go listen to 15 minutes worth of CG talk, which, well, you know, hey, wasn't no biggie. He had more important things to do than keep up with us all day. But no, it was, everybody was running. You couldn't find a beret to save your life. If you didn't have one from before, you were shit out of luck for about a month. They just wasn't there. Clothing sales didn't have them. Pawn shops didn't have them. It was worse than the oil embargo, man. And it was, if you could find one, man, you were paying 40, 50 bucks for it. Then you had to try to find a flash and everything else. It was a trip. Didn't take that long, though. Like I said, about a month. And there was no real set deadline on when you had to have it. It was just one of those things because everybody knew the supply chain was going to be screwed. So yeah, we got it whenever we got it, and then started doing it that way. So that was one of the highlights about being in division, I guess.
So was there a big cheer? Did he say, "You got berets back," and everybody go, "Ah"?
That's what I'm saying. Everybody threw their leg caps off. It was good 5 minutes of nothing but a Thunderous Airborne, you know. It was fun. It was different. Things you go through.
Do you remember Jumpmaster School?
Yeah. Class of 82. 82 guys were in my Jumpmaster course. I was one of 4 that had all first time goes. I got down, kissed the ground. God, I was so happy I did that all right first time. The only bad thing about that is you get punished. The next day they let all of the augmentees they had down there go, and all the guys that passed, all 4 of us had to get stuck in a harness all day. And they strapped that harness on so damn tight you could barely move. I was like, man, this is killing me. But you know, hey, I was part of the payment you had to go through to get all first time goes. Because out of the 82 people we had, I want to say at the end of the all said and done, to include recycles, rehashes, I still don't think we had but about 10 that passed. Which I always thought those schools were great because there was no learning curve. There was no somebody had to pass. If you didn't meet the standards, you didn't make it. And that's what I liked about it. That and AMO school. They were both the same way. And that was back then, you had to do everything with pencil and scratch pad. I hated that stuff. I remember me and Zuniga was in Delta Battery and I was in Bravo. So whenever we went to AQF, me and Zuniga was the 2 guys air loading everything out. God, that was a pain. Take your little Jeeps and be moving it around, trying to figure out where your center balance was, everything else. Oh, nowadays it's just probably pretty simple. They probably got a computer program to do it all.
They absolutely do. They have a computer program, and they've had it for a long time. But they're still teaching AMO school in some way. The neat thing about the way that the Advanced Airborne School was run back then and continues in some way to be run today was that it was independent. It was run by division, and division said, we think that the standard is important. And I love teaching at the Advanced Airborne School. It was amazing and continues to be amazing. And we turned out good jump masters, didn't we?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, we did. A lot of big guys. I mean, look at Michael Oakes. He was a senior master blaster at the, as a young E5. He got caught up in the bullshit of changing the way promotions were handled. Never made E6, I don't think. And it was all because of the way the point system changed over. Because back in the day, you never had time to go to school. You know, when they were talking about you get so many credits for college, everybody said, what the hell is college? Nobody had a chance to go to college. You couldn't get, we were line guys. If there was a field problem come up, guess what? You didn't go to college. And you couldn't, took me 14 years to get my bachelor's. Because of shit like that, having to start all over. Going to Korea, starting all over. teacher would leave, they lost your record, start all over. Oh, come on. Took me forever, but I finally got it. But, you know, hey, I never got lucky enough. At one time they had a re-enlistment perk of if you re-enlisted, whatever, if you got 6 months of school, free. You went to school for 6 months. You were away from the unit. The only thing was during alerts and everything else, you had to call in so everybody knew you were alive. I never forget. Ray Netter got that and got to go to Federal Tech Community College, whatever it's called, for 6 months. And I thought, man, I re-enlisted like a month too early. I could have waited, but you know, hey, was what it was. Because that was a big, that was 6 months of straight college, man. That was good. That was good points towards your stuff. Yeah, I was always a day late and $1 short for every one of those things. But ain't no biggie.
So before we get out of here and close out, I would love to get you to salute and report, you know, and like say your name and where you're from, and you know, I report, you know, and then also call your unit to attention and then sign out. You know, however you would like to do any of that, standing, seated anyway, I would just love to get that. I love to hear, you know, my leaders call their unit to attention and stuff. I think that would be awesome. Could you do that for me?
Yeah. Yeah, we could do that. I wish I'd have known about that. I'd have brung some stuff. I wonder if I could get my...
Yeah, we got time. No rush. No rush. I can edit all of this. It's perfect.
No, wait a minute. I want to see... Can you see that?
Look at that. Look at the bottles of whiskey. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, go stand over there. It's perfect.
This was downtown. Albright. Albright is friends with the guy downtown, and they would fill this with beer.
That's awesome.
So I drank the beer first when I bring it in here. I couldn't take the chance of somebody taking my beer out of there, so I drank the beer first.
I love it.
Mugs of memory. Mugs of memory. And this one I don't think's ever had a beer in it, but you get these from Boundary Oak. If y'all guys don't know about this, get these from Boundary Oak. Call Linda, call the number, tell Linda you were personally told to get there by me and try to get this. If not, get a hold of Craig Evans, which is a guy you need to do. He's there at that damn place.
Yeah, Craig was like the 3rd episode I ever did.
Yeah. But he's there. He can help hook you up with all them people and get it all done. What else I got up here? One of the best guys in life is the guy in the middle here. The guy in the middle, John Stallworth, Pittsburgh Steelers. I worked for him for a long time. I actually now work for his sister-in-law and brother-in-law.
That is awesome.
I came out. I met Terry Bradshaw, Mel Blunt, a whole bunch of guys from him. 3rd place was the best we ever did there. We never tried, but we got 3rd place one time. Love life. He's a great guy. He has had that charity golf celebration for years down there in Huntsville, and luck of draw by working for him and being part of it. I used to get to go a lot. We'd always schedule meetings for that week or whatever, so we could get down there and go to that. Which when John owned the company, we would have our managers meetings the week prior to that and then go play golf on Saturday. Or Friday. Actually, it was a Friday. But we got to play at Hampton Cove. Really nice place. Yeah, and another thing, a shout out to Fischetti. Y'all need to get some of this art if you don't already have it. Well, you can't get that one. That's a goddamn thing from my group. I've got one more. It's over at the dude getting another frame put on it. The frame got messed up.
You're talking about Felicetti, right? First on Felicetti?
Yeah. Yeah, I knew his dad too. Dad was a great guy. But yeah, he does some great artistry there. I'm waiting on his next one to come out. Hopefully there's another one coming out. But yeah, other than that, I can't think of nothing else unless you got something else you want to talk about.
Yeah, give me that salute, and we'll close it out.
Battery, attention. First Sergeant Retired Allen, closing out this session. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. First Sergeant Allen, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. I love you, man. You are a legend, a true legend, man.
I don't know about that. I had skepticism about even doing this because I don't confess to being a legend or nothing like that. I'm just a down-hole, honest guy that tried to make a living out of being a soldier.
Right, but that's all we all are, man. No, look, nobody that's wearing a Medal of Honor looks around and said, "Yeah, I knew I was going to do that." You know, we flourish where we are, and thank you for flourishing in your time and your space. And you mentored me and mentored lots of others. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I love you.
Be good.